And welcome into the Friday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game, broadcasting from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Robbie Stanley, Paul Kuharsky, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning. Hope everybody's off to a wonderful start to their day today. It is going to be a very long day for our friend Paul Kuharsky, and he has graciously chosen to spend the first part of it with me. PK, good morning. How we doing?
Oh, I'm well. It's no big deal. I will catch a significant nap today. So it'll just break into two pieces. Don't you worry about me. I don't have, you ask my wife, I don't have any problem with the with a nap segment of the afternoon. So you can nap during the Titans game after a certain stage tonight.
Maybe some
I
truth
believe.
to that.
Yeah.
Maybe some truth to that out there in the preseason finale. Ian, how we doing? What's going on?
Oh, good morning, guys. Doing great, thanks. Happy game day to everybody.
Happy game day.
Get this thing over with.
Hard to get excited about this one, frankly, for how much of it will be just guys.
Total garbage.
Guys that will not be playing in the NFL.
Too bad Tim Boyle's not around
It
anymore.
really is.
Oh,
I'm pretty upset about it, to be honest with you. I was watching Simeon out there last week. Guys, like, what is this? He didn't throw egregious interceptions left and right.
You want a outside the box prediction?
Yes.
Trevor Simeon, as things stand, if the Titans do not acquire an outside quarterback, drum roll, you got drum roll music? Could be the Titans' number 2 quarterback.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, it's bad for Brandon Allen.
I don't know if that's good. Oh, boy. I mean, this is Trevor Simeon's what? Third stint with the Titans?
Sounds right.
I think it's third. Yeah.
Yeah. It really is an indictment of Brandon Allen.
Yeah.
I mean, Trevor Simeon, though, at least you know what he is,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
And I mean, it's not like he's got a laser cannon arm either, but I mean, Brandon Allen, this is another thing. You know, Tim Boyle was fine in practice also.
Yeah.
But you got to be able to play in the game a little bit. You know, you hope these guys don't play in the game, and you'd like to be able to say, well, as long as they're okay in practice, everything is fine. But it's not. I mean, we know how quickly the starting quarterback could end up out of the game, even if it's just for a series.
Well,
and that series can make or break.
I thought you were underselling Tim Boyle the whole time. I kept hearing about how Tim Boyle, he looks pretty good out there in practice. And I was like, yeah, PK is just a hater. That's what it is. Kuharsky's a hater. He doesn't like Tim Boyle. And then I saw Tim Boyle try out there against Tampa Bay.
And then you thought what?
I was like, Kuharsky may have been a little bit too kind about Tim Boyle throughout this entire process.
I said nothing kind about him. I said he was the worst quarterback. Look, they've had some guys like Jason White or Jason Gesser or, I mean, Mortenson's kid.
Yeah.
Right? Alex Mortensen.
Yeah.
So Tim Boyle is better than those guys. But Tim Boyle's horrific. I mean, we don't need to get back into it. But you saw that moments after he came off the field, he was off the team.
I'm just saying I would probably be more excited to watch tonight's game if he was still out there.
And I was giving guys, who are connected to Tim Boyle being on the team a rough go.
You were?
In person. I was saying, well, why do you want to be tarnished by being connected to that? Joking with them. They go, listen, he's the 4th quarterback. He's, we never plan on him playing and everything. I go, but what he just did is you're connected to it. They're laughing about it. It's
brutal.
not that important.
Hey, has he ended up anywhere?
No.
Nobody picked up Tim Boyle yet?
No.
Just biding the time out there. He'll be on a roster at some point.
Sadly, it might be true. But look, if you look at the our lads, does a nice job with depth charts around the league and also has depth charts by position. So you could pull up our lads' quarterback depth chart around the league. And if you look at the 3 and 4 column of that, it's not pretty.
No.
I mean, we know this. The 2 column is not pretty.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good. Obviously, we got a lot to get to on the Titans front today. We will get PK's thoughts on what he's looking for in the preseason game coming up.
I will say on that backup quarterback thing, I would not be surprised if the Titans picked up a young guy.
Okay.
And said, well, we'll develop two. We'll develop somebody in sync with Cam.
I like that.
And that's one of the things I was joking with Boyle. They're like, he's going to be a coach. He's going to be a coach. And fans way overplay this, like the mentoring role. You're never going to have a guy on the 53 whose first line on his resume is, mentor, or coach. That's a bonus. But he's got to be able to play. Everybody on the 53-man roster has to be able to play.
Yes.
So when somebody tells me, well, Tim Boyle's going to be a coach, I go, oh, you don't like Bo Hardigree? That gets a great reaction.
So we'll get a lot into the Titans preseason game throughout the course of the show. We'll take your questions, 615-737-1025. But there's been an important development in our city, an important development in the education around here. Paul Kuharsky, should we refer to you now as Professor PK, Professor Kuharsky? How do we do this? A new era in our education system last night.
Yeah, I taught my first session of my media ethics class last night at Belmont after some serious anticipation and not knowing really what to expect. And one of them asked me, what do we call you? And I said, that is up to you, but not Paul. Because I've gotten a lot of advice from my boss and other people in this, and they thought, as relatable as you want to be, you got to start out, asking for respect.
Gotta get that respect out there.
In that regard. But somebody sent me an email and called me Dr.
Now we're talking.
Kuharsky. That I'm not going to stand for that either.
Now we're talking.
That's ridiculous. There's no PhD over here. Maybe a master's, but no PhD. I enjoyed it. I thought, the first half. These are two classes peeled together, so it's an hour and 15 minutes. I give them a 15-minute break. It's another hour and 15 minutes. It's a lot, and the first half was a lot of kind of bookkeeping, going over the syllabus, talking about my expectations and all of that. So it was too much of me talking. And I made it clear the second half was going to be a lot more about them talking as we kind of started, and they did talk. So I was pleased. We had some laughs. Like I thought, we do these things called discussion boards. And I thought only two people had done what I assigned on the discussion board. And I said that, and I got all these crazy looks. And I was like, did more than two people do the discussion board? And a whole bunch of people raised their hand. And so I've got, up on the screen, the system. And so I clicked on the thing, and a whole bunch of discussion board stuff came up. And I went, okay, I am being critical of you guys for not doing it. And here it is. So I said, I was looking at it from here, and I showed them, and from here, only two of them show up. Yeah. So I'm not a complete idiot. I'm using the system, and it's showing up in one place. It's not showing up in the other place. But here's the headline. I buried the lead, if you will. A couple of them stayed after to talk, a question or two, and maybe three to offer a little feedback or say thanks. And they were encouraging and enthusiastic. And that was really,
that's awesome.
The payoff. Right. And one young lady stayed last and really said, like, hey, the energy was beyond what we're used to for an opening class. It was great. And so I was like, this is the moment, that I was hoping for. I was hoping teach this first class and have, just one kid say something was special about it, or it had a great feel to it. That's the payoff. And then she says, but I have to drop the class. And I'm like, listen, I told her exactly what I just said. I said, I come in as a complete novice. I do, 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
All of my prep for this, I'm thinking, but for the end of it, for one kid to say something like you just said, it is, exactly what I want. And you say it, and then you pause and you say, I have to drop the class.
Yeah.
I said, I won't allow it. I won't stand for it. What's your rationale? I got, my class, my schedule's packed, and I don't need to be taking as many classes as I'm taking and everything. And I say, all right, well, we'll figure out how you cut something else.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see that schedule real quick.
And so we had a good talk for a long time, and just a terrific kid. And I don't know if I convinced her of anything, but I told her, I lied. I said, I know, the heads of all of these departments and everything, and I'm going to talk to everybody I know, and we're going to figure out a way for you to cut something else. So that we have not heard that. We have not heard the end of this story. I know you feel like you've decided what you're going to do. The last day to make this decision is Tuesday. Don't be rash.
Yeah.
Don't be rash.
Time here.
Let's consider this whole thing. Let's play it out. She said her Tuesdays are really long. She starts at like 7 or 8 and ends at 6:15. I said, well, we're getting you ready for the real world,
exactly.
The whole thing. And the conversation, let's consider the conversation ongoing.
That's right. I like that. Good. I mean, it's pretty good. Hey, this is great. This is better than anything I could have expected. This is energy levels outstanding. By the way, I'm gone.
I'm out.
We'll see you.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
Yeah, I'm out.
All right. We'll see you later. Well, it sounds like things went really well on day one. That's what I think. It sounds like things went well.
One of my best friends, when he got married, all of our group was there, and I was kind of the guy chosen to speak on behalf of us. And his other very good friend from law school, who we were friends with but had our up and downs with, he gave a kind of odd speech at the wedding, and he said, we all have known him, through his highest highs and his lowest lows. I still always kind of rub this speech in on him. I'm like, did you really love the wedding speech about the lowest low?
Lowest low?
He's like, yeah, I could have done without the lowest lows. And so I kind of was driving home last night, and I was like, that was the highest highs. I could have done without the low.
Professor PK, we'll take what should we call Kuharsky? That's probably up for debate today. Let's take your suggestions on the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Our phone number. We got a lot of Titans stuff to get into today, but coming up next, the SEC with a move yesterday that I think has been a long time coming. What do we make of it? What do you make of it? Do you like what it's going to mean for college football? We'll get into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Paul Kuharsky, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Some votes rolling in for what to call PK. I think we're still needing some work here. I don't even understand this first one. Professor Kuharsky, played by John Belushi. Belushi. It's spelled Belushi. I'm like Ron Burgundy.
So that's Blutarski.
Reading the teleprompter. That's what I do. Yeah. Professor K, the only answer. Maybe so.
I mean, to me, a professor, I don't know. You have to have had some experience. I don't know what the technical qualifications are for professor. I'm told by my boss it's not inappropriate for somebody of my experience level. I'm an instructor. So to me, it's a level below. So I'm more comfortable with Mr. But I mean, who's going to say, no, don't, I don't know. Do I want to be strict and say, no, don't call me that? I mean, call me what you want to call me. I'm like the Eddie Murphy guy at the barbershop.
Yes.
If he wants to be called Muhammad Ali, call him Muhammad Ali.
That's right.
You get to be called what you want to be called. They're filling out survey sheets where they get to say their preferred name, and I call them their preferred name. Now, I have no idea how I'm going to get 23 names.
I was about to say.
I did a seating chart thing. We spent a couple minutes on that, which was a big waste of time from their side. Said it's going to help me. We covered this first on Robby and Rexrode. The 71 tabs on my my Chrome. Now, I was significantly down, but my screen was up on the wall, and I mentioned that my boss had a heart attack when I offered the over-under.
Yes.
Everybody was under.
As they should be.
Stunned by 71. It was significantly down, but then somebody said, what are they all? So I got out my pointer, and I ran through most of them. Here's my ESPN Fantasy League with the media. I'm about to restart that. Here's a YouTube video that we're going to watch later. Here's my site. Here's the inside of my site. They just named a boardroom after Floyd Reese.
What were you at yesterday? Like 40 something?
Yeah, probably. So I ran through them. I think that was an icebreaker.
I think so too.
They were amused by that. Also, this is terrific. Like, I put up a YouTube video. I'm showing a reel. I don't know if it's YouTube. It's Facebook. A short reel, and I go to play it, and the volume isn't there. They go, bottom right. Click the bottom right. Anything that you don't know. And it didn't feel like, hey, you dumb old man. It was just kind of like in the flow of things, like just automatically. They say, yeah, click that top left. So it's great, like a room full of resources.
Exactly. I love it. PK, the SEC announcing that they are moving to a 9-game conference schedule in 2026. So they finally got their scheduling determined, because we were trying to figure out, is that ever going to happen? It's next year, and it's August, and you guys haven't got this figured out yet. But they have done the 9-game schedule. It feels like this has been a long time coming. Each school is going to play 3 annual opponents, and they're going to try to maintain as best they can the traditional rivalries. There will probably be some that will not be maintained throughout this because there are too many of them. But each school playing 3 annual opponents, and then the other 6 conference games will rotate during that. Each team will play every other SEC program at least once every 2 years, and every opponent home and away in every 4 years. So they're trying to spread things around as best they can. And here's the other part of this agreement that they've come out with. SEC teams are required to schedule at least one additional high-quality non-conference game from the ACC, Big Ten, or Big 12, or Notre Dame would qualify as well. So you got to have the 9-game conference schedule, and you have to schedule at least one Power 4 opponent as soon as 2026 as this gets started. So, PK, your thoughts on the SEC moving to 9 games, the new format that's going to take place, and what this means for college football?
Well, first off, on the non-conference opponent, I mean, the phones are going to be ringing off the hook. Name the worst program in all 3 of those conferences. Name the bottom 3 programs, right? Who sucks? Stanford.
Yep.
Everybody wants to play Stanford
now.
So, it's going to be interesting to see how that balances out.
Let's go Wake Forest.
Yeah. Can we get a home and home for the next 10 years with Wake Forest? We're pretty confident Wake Forest isn't going to be good. Big 12. Who do you want? Who do you want? Central Florida.
There's a lot of options in the Big 12 who may not be very good.
So that's one thing. I think the other thing, these natural rivalries and stuff, if you're Tennessee, if you're Georgia, if you're Alabama, you've got them. If you're Missouri, it's completely pretend. You have to make it up and force it. So it's a little bit like the AFC South is, just a made up conference of relocated and two relocated teams who were reinvented and two expansion teams. So it's like the leftover division. So for some teams, you're going to have you put the leftover teams and new teams together that don't have much. A&M and Texas certainly fit together, and Texas and Oklahoma certainly fit together. But then beyond that, who's a quote unquote natural rival? It's tough to pretend that everybody has three. You said everybody plays everybody over the course of 2 years?
That is correct.
I mean, that's good. That's satisfying. You want that. And so that means over the course of 4 years, everybody will play everywhere. So if you're a 4-year player, you will, which not everybody is, but in an ideal world where you're a 4-year player, you would play everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Now, most good players are 3-year players. So that means if you're here in Nashville and you were a Vanderbilt season ticket holder, you have a 3/4 chance of seeing the best player.
Arch Manning. Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems like a reasonable solution. There's no perfect solution. Here's the other thing that it ensures that I don't think the SEC hates. There's still going to be a constant debate about it.
Yep.
Now, I don't know what the better alternative is, but people are going to find reasons not to like it and to argue for something else. Or they're going to say, boy, it sucks that so-and-so isn't playing so-and-so. Sucks that so-and-so isn't playing so-and-so at such and such home field, and on, right? And then there's always going to be, well, you played Texas, but you didn't play them in the right year. Or, who has an easy schedule this year. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Hey, Tennessee, this is the year because they have a good roster and their schedule is easy. And in another year, Bama has no chance with this schedule. It makes it a little bit more NFL-y, maybe. And I understand college football is its own thing and everything, but schedule-wise, you have to do something. And I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing that it makes it more NFL-y, but I do think the conversation and debate about it isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, I agree. The three permanent opponents thing is going to be really interesting to see kind of how they structure that. I was thinking about it from like Tennessee's perspective. Tennessee Vanderbilt's going to be one of them. It's an in-state game. It's going to be one. My guess is Tennessee Alabama is definitely going to be 2. So they're going to protect that rivalry. 3, I don't know. I mean, you could go Florida, you could go Georgia, you could go Kentucky. Like I'm really interested to see who that third opponent is for Tennessee. And then on like Vanderbilt, Tennessee's going to be 1. What are the other 2? Like, what are the big rivals? Like, is Kentucky another one? Is South Carolina one? Is this where they throw one of the random Missouri games where you're trying to figure out exactly where Missouri is?
And here's what you have to do too. Like, so for the Tennessee, you threw out 3, right? Kentucky, Georgia,
Alabama, Vanderbilt.
Kentucky, Alabama.
Kentucky.
Two solids are Vanderbilt and Alabama.
So Kentucky, Florida, Georgia.
Kentucky, Florida, Georgia. Now you have to go look at it from their 3 perspectives and who are their 3. And so it's quite a puzzle. And when these get announced, which is probably when? During this?
Yeah, it's got to be some point this year. Like they got to figure it out pretty quick.
Logistically, you've got to figure it out. When that comes out, I mean, the podcasts are going to be that's content for weeks there. There's a 3-hour episode per team about what they got, what they didn't get, why they got it, how they got screwed, how they got lucky. We'll be talking about that forever.
Yeah. Well,
and now you can. Who do you want?
Exactly.
Who don't you want?
Yeah, I mean, and there are teams.
Who do you want if you're a Tennessee fan? Who do you want as your third one? Do you want Kentucky because it's probably an easier win? Or do you want Florida because Florida game is a huge tradition game, and Florida's bad now? But is Florida now what Florida is, or is Florida bound to return to what Florida was?
Right, exactly. And then Florida, you look at their rivals in the SEC. Tennessee's on there. Florida, Georgia for sure is going to be protected. So it's going to be one of them.
Second top game to Auburn and Alabama.
So that's going to be one of them.
Definite, right?
So, and they have played, their cross conference when they used to have the division rival was LSU. So I doubt they're going to do that because, if you're Florida, it's so wait a minute. Our three permanent opponents are Tennessee, Georgia, and LSU.
The three.
And, South Carolina's playing Ole Miss, Missouri, and Mississippi State. What are we doing right here?
Yeah, there's got to be some accounting for balance based on traditional success levels, program strength. I think you probably have to rank the programs in terms of expected strength over time, and nobody could get more than 2 of the top X number and has to get 1 of the bottom X number. But then somebody's going to say, well, you missed this traditional game, which is more important. But that traditional game's still going to come up once every 2 years. On the fan perspective,
it's more games that are good. It's less of looking at the calendar and it's oh, Tennessee's playing ETSU today. Cool. Yeah. Awesome.
I'm a huge fan of it in regards to getting rid of those. Anybody who's heard me talk about this knows I cannot stand college cupcake games. I'll probably do it this year. I thought about doing it last year, and I know I'll get grief. But every time I see a 53-3 game, I say, boy, it was important that so-and-so play so-and-so.
Yep.
And maybe I'll tweet it this year. Every Saturday, I'll tweet out 3 of those.
Look at these.
Sure was important that game be played.
615-737-1025. Our phone number. We will get into the Titans and the Vikings coming up in the preseason finale tonight. Next, take your thoughts as well on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Later today on ESPN 94.9 The Fan, the Sounds take on Louisville at First Horizon Park. First pitch at 6:35. Coverage also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. Sounds baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. Paul Kuharsky with us here on the program. By the way, there's a vote on the text line for what Professor PK should be called. That I feel like this has got to be what it is. Mike from Las Casas. It's got to be called Chief. It's got to be Chief. The students have to call him Chief. I think that's it.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I think that's my vote.
Professor Chief?
What if
Chief?
What if I called the kids Chief?
Well, I'm sure that'll happen at some point.
Yeah, I don't know that should happen either. I think it'll be a touch more formal than Chief.
But if you call one of them Chief, we know you're fired up about something at that point. That's what it is.
I mean, is that politically correct, Chief?
I don't know. I don't know if what's politically correct anymore. Who knows?
Who knows? Anything that's questionable, I'll just avoid.
Titans and Vikings coming up tonight in the preseason finale. PK, as you mentioned, could be a rough go of things by the time about the third quarter rolls around. You're like, ooh, not a lot going on out here. But in the first part of the game, position battles, wherever you want to take it, what are maybe a couple of things you're looking for tonight on the Titans front?
Well, will Cedric Gray continue to pop? We talked yesterday about the reason he's in such good standing right now is because he, had such a good-looking sack, a nice interception. So let's see what level plays are made by Cedric Gray and James Williams. Punt return is still a big concern of mine. They seem pretty mellow about it. I mean, if we see Jaquan Jackson back there based on seniority, that's a white flag surrender, and that means they know what they're doing because it's not going to be Jaquan Jackson.
Yeah.
Johnny Hecker, Fossil said he's got every confidence he'll be ready for opening day, and he certainly gets a bonus kicking in Denver, punting in Denver on opening day.
That's true.
But let's see some consistency from him if they're punting. Cam Ward, better footwork overall. I'd like to see better accuracy. His guys need to catch balls for him, obviously. I think Jeff Simmons is playing. He talked as if he's playing. So that'll be interesting to see him out there. You'd like to see him manhandle some people. You'd expect him to manhandle second teamers for the Vikings.
Yep.
For certain. And how about some cornerback play? I can't imagine Snead plays. Daryl Baker needs to find some footing. You'd like to see Marcus Harris, continue his upward trend. That would be very encouraging. And Gunnar Helm, maybe Gunnar Helm makes another play or two and continues his upward trend. And then how about a random guy or two towards the top popping? We just keep talking about popping.
Yeah, it would be nice to see that. Doesn't it feel like, and you talked about this a little bit yesterday, like DK needs to be the one that wins the punt return job? Like, just from a numbers standpoint, wouldn't that make the most sense if he's the punt returner?
It would uncomplicate things in terms of a roster tangle for sure. If he's not the punt returner with Spears unavailable, then you'd need Prochet probably to make the roster. Then that's 7 wide receivers. Then your 6th wide receiver. It's hard for him to play. Oliver probably rates as your 6th receiver, but Oliver has to play because he's one of your very best special teamers.
Yep.
A really good special teamer. And so things just get complicated there. So, it would be very convenient for them if DK was their punt returner, or maybe we're missing some non-receiver potential alternative. I don't think Kinsey's making the roster. I can't think of who's been back there as a DB. You can always go to Hooker as a safe guy to hold the spot for a while, but he's not been doing it. And, Hooker's a guy that catch the ball. They got to be beyond this thing where you have somebody to catch the ball and somebody that could do something with it. So,
no, I totally agree. And, Prochet is interesting because I know he's had a good camp to this point. To your point, if he makes the team, you're talking about 7 wide receivers at that point. So is that really the way you want to go? How many tight ends are making the team? That's another thing here. Like, are they keeping 4? Are they keeping 3?
I think
what's that going to look like?
I think they're keeping 3. I think the receivers and the tight ends are closely connected in terms of the numbers. But the guys who deserve to make the team, obviously Helm, Chig, and then I would think David Martin Robinson, who hasn't really flashed but has upside. I think Odakoya probably has played out and is what he is. And Josh Wiley just hasn't really done much. I think he's one of those guys that's just a victim of the previous regime really liked him, and this regime just doesn't see him in the same way. And I'll take a second to call up New England's depth chart and see if Mike Vrabel would be coming to get him. Because if they have a need at tight end, let's see what they've got at tight end. They've got Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper. So is he conceivably better than Jack Westover, who I know nothing about? Scott G, college free agent. Who's the other one here? CJ Dipree, J. Heim Bell,
Could
Cole,
be a spot.
Frothingham. Jack Westover looks like their 3rd tight end. I don't know if he's from San Francisco in 24. If they're taking a receiving tight end in the form of Josh Wiley, there could be room for him in New England. And I think we all know that they would give him first look, and he would probably, well, he doesn't have a say, but in terms of a waiver claim, that's the most likely team to take him, and they're high.
Yep. 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. More coming up next with PK, looking ahead to tonight's game against the Vikings. Plus, we will get into a Cam Ward offensive philosophy conversation to begin the 7 o'clock hour. All that coming up. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hey, fantasy football right around the corner. Twin Peaks is your spot to be for your fantasy football draft party. Stay cool under pressure with 29-degree draft beers, bites for the whole team, plus a $50 bonus card for the commish, and an additional $5 bonus card for every drafter as well. They got draft boards, player stickers, premium table reservations with free Wi-Fi as well. So call to book your draft party today at the Twin Peaks and Cool Springs or Madison locations, and visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/fantasy draft for more information. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Paul Kuharsky, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning, taking your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025. Terron Davenport will be with us at 8 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on all things Titans in advance of the preseason finale tonight, as the Titans are at home taking on the Minnesota Vikings. PK, Kevin Winston has not been out there in a while on the practice field. We know he had the ACL last year, and he's still coming back from that. And Brian Callahan, talked about what he was dealing with last week. Is there concern on your part that this could linger into the regular season in terms of just his inability to get out there on a consistent basis? What do we make of what we've seen, or maybe more accurately, what we've not seen from Kevin Winston Jr. to this point?
Yeah, I think it could linger. And I think they're going to be super careful. So, it's a hamstring soreness, not a strain necessarily, but I don't think they're going to quote unquote mess with him or put him at any risk until he's feeling totally right. They're not feeling pressure to do so. Even if he was in a starting role, they wouldn't be pushing it or anything. They want to start him on his path when he's right, and doesn't seem like he's right yet. So, it will also amount to, we talk about this in the press box a lot. When you're a young guy and you miss a significant chunk of camp, so often, look up how many stories there are if you do a good search of a guy going into his second year talking about how his first year was messed up because he missed a bunch of camp.
Yep.
And so, I think a lot of people think about Winston maybe overtaking Xavier Woods, a guy we haven't talked about a lot, but I think he's been reasonably steady. And I think he will be a steady player for this team. But they also have, insurance with Diggs. I think, it doesn't make sense to push it with Winston, despite the fact that, he's a young prospect who's probably going to bring you, be a more dynamic player than those guys. So here you have kind of the traditional wily veterans versus more rangy, more dynamic guy who's got a lot to learn, but, probably can play on instincts with those traits.
Yep.
So I think he'll get out there eventually as a package guy, and maybe later in the season he forces his way into the lineup. But I think early contribution is probably slow, in that they're careful with him on this soreness, and in that he's not going to be up to speed as much as you would like because he's missed this time.
Well, that's one of the few spots on the team where you look at right now and it's got some depth to it, right? Like there's some depth at safety. Now, how good it is, like what is Diggs still at this point in his career? I guess we'll find out as they move ahead here. But they've got a little bit of depth at that spot, so not as much of a rush at that point. We got a question that we talked about a little bit yesterday on Tavondre Sweat and how much concern there is about him missing the time that he's missed. And you said yesterday it's probably maybe the most under-discussed part of the whole team is Sweat not being out there and available. Like, I'm looking at all this, and I keep coming back to Denard Wilson in this because, I remember PK when he was hired, and we talked to you about this. Like, it's an impressive background that he's got to get to this point as defensive coordinator. I don't think things went according to plan last year for anybody, and defense is a part of that. And I'm looking at it this year, PK, and I'm like, well, we've talked a lot about edge rusher. We'll see what L'Jarius Sneed brings to the table, but if he's not full go L'Jarius Sneed, I've got concerns at corner. And I'm wondering, like, how equipped is Denard Wilson this year to really have kind of that breakthrough year as defensive coordinator? Because I think a lot of people were excited about that hire. I think it was underwhelming last year, and I'm looking at the roster right now of what they've got available to them on defense, and I'm not sure exactly what he's going to be able to do based on what I think are some pretty severe limitations on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think he's limited again. And I think it's fair, fans are going to say, hear good things about this guy, came in, was really solid at the microphone. First year results not good, and second year results, I don't think many of us are expecting to be so good. Like, what's so good about the guy? Well, that lineup is just not that good. Sweat, I think, I can't imagine Sweat playing, the snap count most of us would like in altitude after missing all of this time. And look, defensive line depth, the likely starter at nose tackle is Timmy Horn. Isaiah Rakes, who's got a bum ankle now. He's got a bum ankle, by the way, because a guy who's no longer on the team went to the wrong place during warmups and he tripped over him, rolled his ankle.
Not what you want.
Yeah, during warmups for the game. So Timmy Horn, unrestricted free agent from the Giants. This is not a guy that signed like in prime free agency. This is a guy who was, widely available. They've got a lot of guys like this on the team. Jihad Ward, Hecker came to them like this. Sly came to them like this. Lockett and Jefferson came to them like this. Blake Hance came to them like this. Brandon Allen came to them like this. These are the kind of guys that you need to get something out of. Curtis Jacobs, who could be in play. He was a waiver claim, but same kind of guy who's a backup inside linebacker. You're going to hit on these guys. They're going to do something for you. Can Timmy Horn be a version of James Lynch? James Lynch is a guy I've become a fan of, largely through Blake Benningfield's eyes, but I watch him closely. Now, he's a limited player. He's going to give you limited snaps. But if you watch him, 97, who will play a lot on tonight, he scraps, he fights, and he makes some plays in his limited action. I think you can look at James Lynch and say the Titans need players like that in their limited snaps, put up a pretty good fight and make a couple plays. Now for Lynch, one of those plays, he was doubled. He stood his ground against two guys. One blocker dropped off. Then he beat his guy and made a tackle, close to the line of scrimmage on the running back. Yeah, that's a win for me.
Yep.
That James Lynch, a backup defensive lineman, makes a play like that. They need guys who are in James Lynch roles to do what James Lynch did on that play. Can Timmy Horn do that? We're going to find out. I think he's probably on the roster, Isaiah Rakes, maybe two.
615
Cam Horsley.
Yeah. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. A Cam Ward discussion that I want to get PK's thoughts on coming up next as it relates to the offense and the plan for Cam Ward early in the season. We will get into all that. Take more of your thoughts on the Titans on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com. Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning. We'll have Terron Davenport coming up at 8 o'clock. We've got a PK rant, a primary complaint later this hour at 7:45. So looking forward to that. Taking your thoughts in the meantime on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership with a buzz is always about great service. So, PK, when this game is mercifully over tonight, we're getting to the real thing, roster cut down day right around the corner, and then it's time to start prepping for the Denver Broncos and week 1 of the NFL regular season. So I'm curious from your vantage point as Cam Ward is about to make his first start in the NFL here in a couple of weeks. You've watched him all throughout camp. Brian Callahan has talked about in several different places how they have adopted some concepts that he's familiar with in Miami, and that the offense that he ran in Miami is conducive to the offense they're trying to run here, and all those things that help with Cam Ward's comfort level. So my question to you is, given the fact that he's a rookie quarterback, the fact that Callahan has talked about trying to make him as comfortable as possible in the offense, particularly early, and the fact that they're taking on some pretty good defenses in the first couple of weeks in Denver and then here against the LA Rams, how do you think Brian Callahan is going to roll this out with Cam Ward? What do you think the approach is going to be with Ward early in the season to bring him along in this offense?
Completions. I don't know that it has to be simple. I'm curious to ask TD about, how complex he thinks things will be for starters. And, ultimately with Cam this season, but I think really they just want to get him in a rhythm and be more efficient. So Nick Suss of the Tennessean very cleverly stacks transcriptions. And he does a lot of transcribing on his own as opposed to taking the Titans Callahan transcripts. They provide those. But he has a system where he, I think, just stacks all of those transcriptions in one file, which is brilliant because he can then search for anything.
Yep.
And it's a database, really. And so at one point he was writing something about efficiency, and he searched for efficient or efficiency. And he was telling the room, I've gone back and, like he said, January X, April X, May X, June X, through Callahan's time here, these big quotes about his goals for efficiency in the passing game from the beginning. Just benchmark theme throughout pass game efficiency. And how many? So, that means eliminating these sins that they talked about, self-inflicted, whatever. That makes them inefficient.
Yep.
These holding calls, these false starts, these offensive penalties that dig them into a hole. Inability to get into the third and manageable where you're then predictable, hitting the chains, hitting some big plays that get you flip the field and are explosive, eliminating turnovers, particularly turnovers in bad parts of the field that put that defense you're talking about that we don't have a lot of faith in. Well, at least let them defend a longer field, right? Instead of giving the other team the ball at the 20. So Titans deal with sudden change and red zone defense at the same time. Let's put our bad defense in a terrible situation as they come on the field. So I think thematically, that's what they're looking for. That deals with the slow starts too. And the answer on the slow starts, I think we talked about this last week, were really some silly answers from Callahan and Ward. Well, we don't really start slow as much as, there just aren't plays made early. And if we make the plays early, then we'll be starting well. Some really circular, silly logic to not say we start slow.
Yeah.
That concedes that they start slow. And this team has started slow, dating back to Vrabel. This is not a Callahan thing. This is a Titans DNA thing for a while now. So I would look for that. And look, I'm a big believer. I mean, this dates way back to the beginning of the Titans with McNair. McNair had a tendency to start slow, and they had him force feed who? Wide check.
Yep.
They had a great connection. You could get some easy completions there, kind of get the blood flowing and get going. Who's that going to be for Cam? It seems like Ridley, which is a different thing than like short underneath stuff to wide check. But, Ridley can catch all kinds of passes. Get him going with somebody early if you need that. Not because Cam's a slow starter necessarily, but to get this efficiency thing going. Easy completions early sets the efficiency tone, right? But while you're doing that, you can't have your tackle false start, and you can't have your guard hold, or you can't have your running back miss a blitz pickup and have a sack that gets you in 2nd and 17.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was interesting hearing Ward talk the other day because he was asked about the offense and like how much he's got the offense down. He's like, I mean, I got the offense down. Like, it's all about just repping what we're going to be doing on a game plan at this point. So like it feels like he's got a good baseline of comfortability with the offense. And, we'll see how they game plan week to week coming up starting against Denver. But one of the things I'm wondering about is exactly what you just talked about. Like, we know that there's a comfort level there with Ridley, and that's important. We saw last year when you don't have that, it's a big problem in this offense. Who is that next guy? Like, who is the next guy that is going to catch the ball on a consistent basis in this offense? Because as you brought up with us last week, like, it's pretty clear if you're a defense right now, yeah, it's great that the Titans and Ward and Ridley have developed a connection there. But like, if I'm a defense right now, I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, we're gonna shade to Ridley, and we're gonna try to do what we can to limit how effective he's gonna be in the game. And yeah, some of that's on Brian Callahan and the coaching staff to combat some of that. But can guys like Lockett, Io Manor, Jefferson, like, can they win one-on-one matchups often enough for Ward to have other outlets to go with the football?
I think this is one of the big questions. Who's the next guy? But I think the answer may be a game-to-game thing.
Yeah.
A matchup thing, right? I mean, I think we haven't really talked about Lockett a lot. Do they finally have a guy in the slot who can get to 4 yards reliably on 3rd and 3, facing the receiver, facing the quarterback, and catching the ball reliably, right?
Yeah.
We went through the Kyle Phillips era, the Humphreys era, the Boyd era, and we didn't see that consistently happening anywhere.
Yep.
And the slot is where magic is happening all over the league, right? Big gains, sure. Crafty stuff, designs that make things happen because there's space there. There are picks to be set. There's all kind of clever stuff going on out of the slot. But there's also simple stuff where you find a soft spot in the zone and you sit down and you get an easy completion. So maybe some of it's Lockett and or DK out of the slot. Maybe some of it's Helm. I'm thinking, though, it's more likely that it's going to be a game-by-game thing, who the second guy is, than there's going to be like an emergence of a second guy.
Yep.
If there's an emergence of a second guy, I would think it's going to be A, Io Manor, or B, Helm. With an outside shot, I hate to say this. You guess what name I'm going for here.
Jefferson?
Pollard.
Oh, okay.
No, not Pollard. Sorry. Spears.
Yeah.
Spears. But, I mean, Spears already starting hurt. He's been down.
I'm really worried about
Where's Lockett in this situation?
I just
in this whole equation? What are we expecting from him?
I mean, he's 32.
Did I
He'll be
not?
33.
Was I not talking Lockett out of the slot there? That's
You
what
were.
I
You
meant.
were. Yeah. Like
That. I think Lockett is a step up from Boyd. I mean, he's old. We got to see the aging factor, but he's a pro. He knows what to do. He's going to be reliable. He's not running away from anybody or anything, but this is not a guy who needs to get past people. He needs to get underneath people.
Yeah.
And I would expect that he's going to have some success doing that unless he's, really hit a wall. What you want from his craftiness? Can he be crafty? I tend to give him the benefit of the doubt until I see him not do it. A lot of people I need to see prove it to me, Ian. I need to see Van Jefferson prove that he can rebound from what he's done.
Catch the ball. Yep.
I need to see Tyler Lockett show that he can no longer do anything. I understand he's fading. I'm not expecting big things, but I'd be surprised if he's not making some kind of notable contribution. I mean, I'm not talking significant games, but I expect him to make 3 catches that are not insignificant in a game.
He had 49 catches for 600 yards last year.
How much of a security blanket could he be? Could that be a role for him? Or
Yes.
Okay.
A security blanket, yes. Does that make him the second guy if Ridley's taken away? No, you need somebody that's offering more.
Well, my concern is exactly what you said. Is
he's
that
a bit player.
Don't have a second guy.
Yeah,
right.
That's the big concern.
And that's, if they don't have a second guy, how does that affect their first guy?
And look,
in Ridley?
You're hitting on something thematically here, right? Ridley really should be the second guy.
I totally agree.
Right?
Yep.
So they don't have the first guy. Oladejo should absolutely be the second guy, and they don't have the first guy. All right? There are probably a couple other spots we're not thinking of. But where they are draft-wise, we're talking about the lack of back-end depth, but we should also be talking about the front side. In the second round, they drafted their second edge guy. Next year, they got to get the guy who's in front of him.
I totally agree.
Ridley is looking great, but still, with the quality of receivers that are coming out, you drafted 2 fourth-round guys who you hope can be contributors for you. But what you need to do now is stack somebody in front of them. So your first and second round picks next year, I mean, I think edge first-round pick, automatic if there's somebody good for you there. And second round pick, I'd be hard pressed not to take a receiver. And then those 2 rooms reshape where you got a new guy on top, and all of those guys then fill into where they're supposed to be instead of one notch above where they're supposed to be.
And the other part of that is Ridley's going to be 31 in December, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're getting to the point now where it's like, how much longer is he going to play at this level? Look, I'm really encouraged by him to this point.
He's one of the most encouraging stories of this whole thing.
Yeah, like I'm really encouraged.
He is really motivated. He's done and said all the right things, and he's got a good energy vibe. I don't think we talk enough about that. Like, there's not enough of a vibe on this team, but he brings one for sure. He's upbeat, saying all the right things, brings energy. He jaws, but in the right, like, good-natured, good-spirited way. He's never angry.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he got angry in the middle of all of that stuff, but appropriately angry because he didn't like seeing his quarterback in it.
615-737-1025, our phone number. A couple other points on Ward I want to get to with PK coming up next. We'll do that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Nashville's best deal of the week is Bavarian Beer House, conveniently located at Opry Mills Mall. Enjoy beer, food, music, and fun at Nashville's only authentic German beer hall, where it's Oktoberfest every day. Head to theGameNashville.com/deals to get a $50 gift card for only $25 to Bavarian Beer House while supplies last. Taking your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025. Let's head to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Ed in New Jersey.
Real quick, Ed from New Jersey probably appreciated that music there. So Springsteen just released 7 albums from his vault a little while ago. And today or yesterday, out of nowhere, I think it's the anniversary of Born to Run, released that song, Lonely Night in the Park, which was a Born to Run outtake. This guy has released more music from his back catalog than most people release in their lives.
You just been listening to it nonstop?
Nobody knew it was coming out. I was on Spotify on my way in, listening to some stuff, and all of a sudden there was a new Springsteen song there. And I was like, where's this come from? Then I looked it up, and there was like a story that said, song out of nowhere released by Springsteen. Ed, did you know about that?
I did. And I kind of thought about the times that I saw him playing, impromptu. I saw him twice at the Stone Pony that would just, pop up and play these songs and cover songs. And it's like, this guy could sing a phone. I mean, he's not the greatest singer, but it's like, he's just a great performer.
The prolific stuff is ridiculous. I mean, the amount of stuff he has. How you doing? Yeah. What's up?
Good. So, PK, you hit on a point a while back that it seemed like when things go awry for Ward, throws a pick, it's the immediate reversion to the dink and dunk.
Yes.
And I have concerns with that because in hearing Ward even speak, if he throws a 40-yard, bomb and it's a pick, and if he sees in the next series that guy's got a chance at it, he's going to throw it again. So I don't know if that's conducive to his style, and is that kind of putting handcuffs on the kid? And I just worry that, is that approach more self-serving for Callahan, or is it really beneficial for Ward? So I wanted to get your take on it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
It's a good question. I don't know that it's strictly a Ward thing. I think it's a everybody thing. Like, all right, let's kind of wind it back and restart and rebuild our efficiency, to get back to the theme that we were talking about early. We'll have to see if they do that in a game. But you're absolutely right. I mean, if they've got to play on the next play when they get the ball back, they can't hesitate to take it. My question is, are they going to call it?
Yeah. That's a big question. And kind of building off that, I think you all have to recognize here too, and it's going to be the case again here tonight, there's not a whole lot of game planning that's going on from a defensive or offensive perspective in the preseason. So, I think back to earlier in camp when Ward was having a tough time throwing the ball over the middle of the field and he was getting picked. Is that going to creep up early in the season? Like when you see Denver and they're throwing some stuff at you that he's just not seen before, is that going to be a problem early in the year? You've talked about the footwork part of it and how that's, I think, Blake Bedingfield on your site used the term inconsistent play to play. Like is that going to be a big problem early in the year?
This is my concern. You mentioned earlier that he said, I've got the offense down.
Yeah.
Well, now comes the Mike Tyson part. What happens when you get punched in the face?
Right.
I'm not talking about Jeff Simmons putting hands in your face. I'm talking about when the defense now presents something. You've got it. I get that. You know the playbook. But now put that against a team that is scheming against you and your perceived weaknesses and what they know about you and what they know about things that have given quarterbacks similar to you problems, and what they know about what has given rookie quarterbacks problems. Now, how do you know the playbook? Now, how does what you know about the playbook go into effect? That's the big next question, right?
Yep.
And we don't know anything about that. So at noon Central, it's 3 Central, right?
Yes,
3
3
Central on September 7th, a whole new world opens up. And what is the panic level in those moments when he doesn't see stuff? He's a calm, poised, cool, collected guy. But he had some panicky moments at Miami when things went awry.
Yep.
And when things go awry at this level, it's a much different deal. And he got away with some stuff, some wild scrambling and stuff like that. That's not going to fly here. So you can be a massive Cam Ward fan and have all the confidence in the world. But the fact is, we don't know what's going to happen in those situations. That is the massive curiosity. And
Yep.
we're a couple weeks away from seeing it. Maybe it goes great and everybody's optimism is dialed high. Against that defense, that coordinator in that setting, where are the odds? You have to be realistic and know most rookie quarterbacks put in that setting come out with lumps.
Yeah. Here's the other thing too, and this goes back to the offensive line, and I think is also kind of a direct correlation to Callahan. I mean, common sense would tell me there had to come a point pretty early last year where Callahan looked around and said, well, first off, I don't know that I've got the quarterback to do it, and the offensive line can't hold up and block. So right there's a certain portion of your game planning and your playbook that you just throw out the window, because you know that if you try to drop back any length of time with that offensive line, your quarterback's going to get killed out there. Number one, does the offensive line actually hold up, and are they good in pass protection? And if they do, what does that mean for the versatility of the playbook and how much Brian Callahan is going to try to throw Cam Ward's way? Because again, last year, like, it was pretty clear early that if you tried some deeper down the field stuff, your quarterback was going to get murdered in the pocket.
Yeah. And again, I know this gets tiresome. Titans have to stay close, right? They fall behind. They're not built for it.
Yeah.
Offensively, for sure, because you're then going to have to give up on the running game, which gives up on the play action, which then puts you in the downfield passing game situation, which no matter how much better your offensive line is, means that they're coming at you harder and more often, and which forces Cam to straight drop back more often. And that's not advantageous for most offenses. It's fine if you're Mahomes or Burrow or Allen and you have to do that, but you don't want to do it with a rookie quarterback, and that's a built-in danger here.
Yep.
This team's not that good. It's going to be a struggle to hang close. But if they win games, it's probably going to be out of hanging close and having a good drive at the end and a good defensive series at the end. You got to get to the end.
Yep. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Coming up next, a story and a talking point that, frankly, I think I'm tired of hearing about until information changes on it. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Paul Kuharsky, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning.
I have been meaning to say to Mr. Safar that I misjudged him when he first got this job. Now, I do think he was very soft on Stilly, so I still hold that against him. But Ian, I tend to call Ian's Ian.
Yes,
because we had this running joke at my old show. It was some guy named Ian, or there was some skit where the guy was called. His name was Ian. It might have been a Friends thing, whatever. So I may call you Ian, but I find Ian to be an absolutely delightful and smart guy. I think you're really good on the air. And when we make eye contact, when stuff's going on, like when something's funny, or like you'll be at your keyboard and I'll say something and you'll jerk your head around.
Like, what did he just say?
I mean, it adds a lot to the show, and producers who add a lot to the show are a big deal. And I've just been meaning to give you some on-air love and credit.
I appreciate that.
I've enjoyed getting to know you.
What a day.
And I think you're quite good at this.
Well,
and
thanks.
I undervalued you early, and I wanted to tell you that was my shortcoming, and I hope you felt the difference from me. And now I'm announcing it to the world.
Okay, well, very cool.
When shall we have our wedding?
Anytime. Even though I believe we're both already married, but we can figure that part out later.
We'll work
Logistics.
It's technical.
Yeah. But yeah, well, I appreciate that. Sometimes back here, we are working on a few different things, and I'll be honest, it's hard to always listen to everything 100% clear all the time. So you peek in here and there, you hear things here and there, work on something, hear something there. So there's a lot of moving parts, but yeah, I appreciate that.
I mean, you should have heard Ian the other day. He was fighting through basically a hurricane back there. There's a box fan right next to him.
Yeah,
there's a billion degrees in here. Just talking right through it.
Issues back here. So yeah.
But this is also the part where you now compliment me.
Well, I think it's been great getting to know you, Paul. I was always working on the afternoon show. It was always weird. I was always like, okay, Paul has this thought about me on the show, but he also says he doesn't listen to the show.
Snippets.
So, okay. Well, so there was probably a little bit of a miscommunication going on there. So
this isn't the complimenting that
I understand.
I just really paid you some huge respect.
Now
You tell me
to go
what a talent I am.
Full circle. But yeah,
his vocabulary is outstanding.
It is Ivy League, as we would have said before. And yeah, it's been great getting to know you. You come in early, you come in punctually, you come right in, right to work.
The guy's complimenting my time. Said I'm on time.
Look, I'd be honest with you.
This compliment is not matching my compliment.
I don't know.
I don't think the vibe is matching.
Well, I mean, who doesn't love your insight on the Titans?
There we go.
Yeah,
here we go.
A little bit better.
Here we go.
I thought that was just.
Would you like to make a pitch for people to subscribe to PaulKuharsky.com?
Oh,
is that something you'd like to do right now?
He is Paul Kuharsky of PaulKuharsky.com on the Paul Kuharsky podcast. Yeah. You say it 3 times and it brings you good luck.
There we go.
Shows that he's
How are we feeling about that?
That's good. He listens to the podcast.
And I would like to hear you pronounce that cornerback from Dallas one more time, though.
God. I need to see it. Hold on. Number 31. I know his number because he's so bad. I watch him all the time. God, I can't see it. Give me a second.
That's been fun the last couple of weeks on the Paul Kuharsky podcast.
Owuwarie.
Nailed it.
Okay.
Booyah. Nailed it.
Amani Owuwarie.
Look at
There's no reason for anybody to learn his name. He is among the first cuts. He is horrible. I don't know if I told this story. I don't know if I told this story on the air. In Tampa, I'm always trying to pay attention to special teams in the preseason. And so on a punt, the Titans punting, I'm watching the Gunners. And so Bryce Oliver was kind of on the near side. I'm in the corner, right? Where the press box is in the corner. Bryce Oliver is on the near side, and I'm watching him. And like peripherally, I'm looking for the other gunner. And nothing is happening on that side of the field. There's empty space on that side of the field. And so legitimately, the play is almost over. And I look way back towards the line of scrimmage. And Oruwariye is double teamed, and he's still like way back. He has no chance to be of any impact on this play. If this returner had gotten outside right, these two guys who doubled him would have gotten gold stars from the Bucs special teams coach. He tried to split this double team, which I'm told is not the way you take on a double team. You got to get inside it or outside it. But I mean, it was the most miserable effort. I can't imagine why they would have tried him another snap at gunner after this.
Are you saying
I'm very quick to be done with people?
he's the Tim Boyle?
The Tim Boyle of gunners. But the thing is, this guy, I mean, I don't want to wax poetic or anything, but if you're drawing up a corner, he's 6'2", 205. I mean, his arms are long. You look at him lined up. If you're standing there on the sideline, you go, that's what I want my corners to look like.
Yeah.
Titans don't have guys that look like that. He's beautiful. Like, that is what and he had 6 interceptions in 1 year.
I can't wait to watch him play tonight. He's going to light it up tonight.
Yeah, watch.
It's going to be awesome.
Well, Ian, there's a lovely exchange with you. You could have done
It really was.
You could have done a little better on your end.
Yeah,
but
sorry, that
I'm
kind of
glad-
came out of nowhere, so
I'm glad
I
that-
sprung
yeah.
out
Well,
on
I
me,
wanted
but-
to surprise you.
Well, I
And
appreciate
I'm
that.
glad I got to say what I got to say.
I am too.
Me too.
Now turn off your
A
microphone.
tender moment.
I'll go back
Now
here
turn
working on
off
my
your
rant.
microphones
Yeah.
and leave this to the talent.
He's back.
Leave this to the talent.
He's back. There is a phrase that keeps getting thrown out there that was brought up again the other day on the Pat McAfee show. So Jeff Passan, Major League Baseball insider for ESPN, was on the McAfee show, and they were talking about MLB expansion. And every time they talk about MLB expansion, Nashville comes up. And I think the phrase that Passan used was Nashville is, quote, almost a shoo-in when Major League Baseball expansion comes up,
And I
which people
think
believe is
Bob
going to be in
Nightingale-
2028.
I think Bob Nightingale of USA Today has long said that Nashville is the same.
Yeah.
You know, foregone conclusion.
So who's paying for it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the presumption is they have interested people who want to buy expansion teams, and they will buy the expansion teams and they will put it in Nashville. It's not necessarily a Nashvillian who will be doing that. Now, you would hope it's somebody that will do it and come here and not be an absentee owner. But at this stage, if you're a fan of this and you want it to happen, I don't care where the owner is.
I don't either.
Shell out the $2 billion expansion fee. Shell out the additional money it costs to build the stadium without much public help, and let's go.
I'm totally with you there. I just need to know who that person is. Like,
Well, right.
you know, like who's that going to be? Like, because I don't know how you could be almost a shoo-in when nobody knows
You
who
don't
that
know who it
person is and nobody knows where the stadium's going. Like, how is that almost a shoo-in at that point?
Yeah. And this junkyard that has been this premier property kind of not on the other side of the bridge, not on the other side of the river, on the other side of the bridge, on the same side of the river, would be the absolutely ideal
I agree.
spot for a baseball park. It could in some way, shape, or form share some of the minimal parking that there is for the new Nissan Stadium, though there's not going to be a lot, and share the poor but existing ingress and egress routes. People could walk across the bridge from downtown, all of that. I think it would be fantastic if it went that way. I don't think the city should or will or could be part of financing it after it's done Nissan Stadium. Titans got their thing done first. I think you need somebody who's filthy rich to come and build the stadium and then reap all the benefits of the stadium.
Yeah.
Get tax breaks or whatever works from the city's perspective. I could see an alternative where you find a place, you know, some people talk Rutherford. I think Rutherford, I think it needs to be more central, right? I'm anti-Rutherford because I'm Williamson. And a lot of people in Williamson wouldn't want it there because of the traffic it would bring. I would deal with traffic 81 times a year, work around it, and be in it to go see games. But it seems to me Williamson is more central.
Yeah.
Like if you're on 65, and 840 lets people come from either way. There's land to be found there, and you could create a battery type thing. But and I wonder if people agree with me, chime in on the chats or call us or text us. I still want the downtown feel. I haven't been to the Battery. I hear the Battery's great. I think Atlanta's a weird kind of city, but Kauffman Stadium's nice in Kansas City, but I don't want the suburban parking lot stadium. I want the downtown stadium, not just in Nashville, anywhere.
Yeah.
We were just talking like the weekend the Titans play in Denver. The Rockies are home that night. They're terrible team.
Got a chance to see some
They're
special
playing the
baseball.
Padres, but you go see a new stadium and eat a dog and
apparently get in very cheap.
Get in for $16, probably less. And I just think a downtown ballpark is part of the DNA of a city's fabric, and Nashville's shown no hesitancy to grow or overgrow. And so I say bring it on, put it at that junkyard. But they've got a plan for that junkyard now that's not that. So somebody better act fast if they want to get that.
I mean, you and I ended up in Pittsburgh last year at that park, and that's like the prime example of just awesome. I mean, the team is total trash, but that park, that stadium is awesome.
Fantastic. One of the top three, easy. I mean, you put Wrigley and Fenway in a class of their own because of the history stuff. But you look at new ballparks, and I've been to a lot of them. I mean, Camden Yards is fantastic. I think San Diego's fantastic. I put Pittsburgh ahead of all of them. You walk in there, everybody's, it's got a neighborhood around it. It's natural. It's not artificial. I'm sure the Battery is great, but there's nothing natural about it.
615-737-1025, our phone number. PK's got a rant coming up next. We got TD at 8 o'clock, getting into all things Titans with him. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Don't make me angry.
Sometimes you have to tell someone to pound sand.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
This is the Rob Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
Have you gentlemen seen your midterm grades yet?
Professor PK.
I hope he's not too whacked out on gummies, but yeah.
I mean, it's a funny disease.
Mr. Blutarski. 0.0.
Where's he in terms of knowing everything, Mike?
Everything? I mean, I don't think everybody besides you knows everything.
It's all fun and jokes to PK.
It is that time of the day. PK's primary complaint there on the program. Good pulls there by Ian.
I love
Was,
that sound clip where Vrabel says that I know everything.
Yes.
God, that's
I'm sure
good.
you do.
I need that in some way, shape, or form to put on my site.
I don't think anybody knows everything except for you, of course.
Oh, God, that's
By the way, Vrabel continuing to have a lot of fun with the media up there in New England.
Well, he has a huge beef that somebody broke that Polk is out for the season, and he wants to find the rats that let that out. I mean, if somebody let out some strategy, I understand, but the guy is, in fact, out for the season. Like, how is it hurting the organization that has been revealed?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. People know that this guy who's not going to play is not going to play. We got to find them all. This is not my primary complaint. My primary complaint is about pro football talk. And I have a lot of issues with pro football talk. And I admit I fear pro football talk. Otherwise, I would have tweeted this a billion times. But it is not a bad thing for me when pro football talk picks up my stuff and puts a link there. Getting links in the SEO business is a good thing. Backlinks,
yes,
they're called. I need backlinks, and they give me backlinks when I have good stuff. Mike Florio is a pompous ass who he complains about the way reporters do their business while pretending that he's not a reporter himself. He asks why certain people don't ask certain questions when he doesn't ask those questions himself. He talks about the interplay between insiders and agents when he has interplay akin to that himself. But these are not my complaints. These are prefaces to my complaint. Mike Florio, who's a very busy man, the guy works his ass off, I will give him that, but somehow has room in his life for a side gig, which is writing fiction. The guy writes fiction, and I think this is his third book now, Big Shield. Big Shield, get it?
Oh, I get it.
It's not about the NFL, he keeps emphasizing, and this is a story apparently about a player involved in some betting scandal, but he keeps saying, not the NFL, not the NFL. I'm sure the NFL is getting the point. It's not technically about the NFL. You know what else wasn't about the NFL was playmakers, and the NFL didn't seem to care that it wasn't about the NFL. But I digress. I promise you this is going to be good. Every fifth post at PFT now is about this damn book. Headline currently, August 21st at 8:27 p.m. last night. Big Shield is doing big numbers. Big Shield is doing better than I thought it was, Mike Florio reports about his own book. The ebook is currently the #1 bestseller in Amazon's football category. Oh, the football category. I mean,
a lot of books.
How many books? How many books are in the football category? In this micro niche where I insist on writing books that nobody gives a damn about, I'm #1. And the numbers keep going and going. Thank you for that. It's been a very pleasant surprise. Do we think he's surprised
I
that
don't
he's
think so.
#1 in a football category where Seth Wickersham's book, American Gods or whatever it is, American Kings
yeah.
isn't out yet?
Yeah.
And that book's going to sell
Yeah,
like
it
for real.
is.
Also, it's going to be published in print, not an ebook. I know somebody that knows Mike Florio, and when he wrote his first book, he said, "Hey, can I send you a copy of the book? I'm looking to promote the book." And this guy knew Florio pretty well. So, sure, I'll do you solid. Send me a copy of the book. He got an email. Right, when somebody tells you, Ian, you chime in on this. I tell you I'm going to send you a book. You're checking your mailbox, right? Your physical mailbox, not your email box.
Actually, this happened when Warren Sharp, your boy who does the analytics, first was starting to jump on. He has his book that he likes to put out. And he was like, hey, if you're a member of the media or something, reach out, send me a DM, let me know, and I'll send you one. So I sent him a DM, and he sent a couple of copies here to the station.
There we go.
2 books.
Warren Sharp knows how to do it.
So he did it.
Physical book.
Physical. Yeah.
And him, you might have expected it to be digital.
Yeah.
Right?
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, this was years ago.
This is hysterical to me. It costs only 99 cents. So, I mean, this guy is selling fiction in an ebook for 99 cents. Yet, I think he's kind of ruining his business. I'm dying to tweet because I know, and I've done this a couple times, like in shooting down Jordan Schultz or in shooting down, what's the little fellow from Washington's name who gets all the Titans stuff wrong? Lockenfora. I mean, I practically got an ovation at the combine from my fellow reporters for shooting down Lockenfora. Most people can't because they're not independent, right? They got bosses who won't allow them to do this.
Yeah.
If I tweeted, what would it take for us to shut down Mike Florio on the fiction market? I would get DMs from across the country from my colleagues saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. To those who have said, sarcastically or not, that they'll wait for the movie, Florio writes, here's a little nugget. We're in very early discussions about making it into a series.
Oh, God.
Tubi. On Tubi with Cam Ward.
Getting there requires about 1,000 hurdles to be cleared, but we're at least starting down the path. If it ever happens, it won't be soon. Why not just buy it and read it now and let me know what you think? Here's why I won't. I don't give a
Nice catch. Nice catch. Good stuff. I am stunned. I mean, it's on the front, the main page of Pro Football Talk right now. I'm looking right at it.
I think there's an update every 24 hours in some way, shape, or form.
This is unbelievable.
I'm on Amazon.com under football books. I do not see it.
Well, you don't see it because, I don't know if there's a physical book or not. He has offered to sign them. He'll inscribe anything you want in there. I might order one and ask for a ridiculous inscription to see if he'll do it.
Are we sure that he's telling the truth about
hard copies?
About being #1 football book? So are we
Ian,
we're
look
telling
that
truth?
up if you can.
I will do my best.
I don't know if you could find those sub niches.
Yeah,
or
this
if you
might
have,
take an
if you have to
extensive
be an
search.
inside member to see that data, that level micro
For
data.
only 99 cents. I mean, first off, he's, as of right now, he's #2 on Big Shield. Yeah, Big Shield's #2.
Like,
that won't be today's report. There'll be something sunny.
The surprise play,
number
a
one.
college sports romance by
Oh.
Katie Archer. #1. #1.
No, what a big day for her. Now, at her website, I give her permission to write about that. I want to just send one message to our listeners here. Do not let this conversation turn into you spending 99 cents.
Don't do
This
it.
does say 99 cents Kindle edition.
Yes.
Wow.
It says two
I don't,
formats.
I don't have a
available. Let me
Kindle.
see.
So what if I read on my iPad? What am I to do?
It's a good question. Don't know. Maybe out of luck.
Poor me.
Oh, paperback, $14.99.
Oh, there's a paperback version. Okay.
I am a digital reader now. I've become a snob against paper. But for $14 less, it seems like quite the value for this guy's prose.
I just hope Florio enjoyed his time at #1 because now Katie Archer has taken the throne.
And what's the title again?
The surprise play, a college sports romance.
That's hysterical. Oh, God, I want to send them that.
You think you're going to get banned now from Pro Football Talk?
No, they're not here.
No more links?
They're not here.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Terron Davenport will be with us coming up next. We'll look ahead to the preseason finale tonight for the Titans. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Paul Kuharsky, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning. And we head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our man, Terron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, host of Talking with TD, presented by Bart Durham Injury Law. TD, good morning, buddy. How we doing?
Hey, good morning, man. I got to get me some music to play before I come on. You know, stand back. There's a hurricane coming through.
My
Can
bad.
get a
I
little
forgot
Narcos
TD's
or
music,
something?
though. I did forget TD's music.
Yeah,
No,
come on.
I'm saying,
like
Ian,
my
we're
theme.
gonna come up with something new.
Yeah,
That's
we're
all.
going to put
That
our
dates
brains
way
together.
back.
Okay.
Frank
He did his
Wycheck.
job.
Frank Wycheck came up with that way back in the day. So I'm
Oh yeah.
I'm honored to kind of remember him every time it plays. Hey, we were talking.
Hey, come on, PK, get up and dance. Get up and dance. Come on.
All right.
Look at that
And
foolish,
greet the man.
foolish giant head bobbing around out there. Imagine, think how many ridiculous losses that guy's watched.
Jeez. Taking some shots this morning.
Unbelievable.
Hey, I mean, it's the truth. It's the truth.
We were
But it's all
talking.
good.
We're talking a little bit about Cam Ward and like not sophistication. How complex do you think this offense will be at the start? How complex do you think they ultimately envision it once he's like all the way there? Not necessarily this year, but like long term.
Yeah, well, I could tell you one thing I do like that they're doing already, and or they're not doing, to be frank with you. And I saw this firsthand with Carson Wentz. I saw it with Colin Kaepernick, where they would have these guys get on the move, roll them out. You got a half field read, high low. They'll flood that zone, and that's how you do it. They're letting Cam Ward see the whole field, so I definitely give them that. I do want to see them stick to the vertical part of it a little bit more. Those seam routes, he loves to throw those. I would like to see Chimere DK get open on a few more of those deep crossers from the slot. But I think overall, as you mentioned, you know, they have a pretty big reliance on the quick passing game. And it's pretty clear that they want to get Cam in a rhythm and have him, you know, be one of those type of passers that can sprinkle the ball downfield every once in a while as well. So to me, I think they're kind of going in line. I would suggest featuring his deep passing game a little bit more because that's what he does really well. You look at his yards per attempt and his completion percentage last year, it was among the best in college football.
I think among the receivers that he's going to throw to, you know, a lot of fascination with the 2 4th-round picks. I feel like, first off, it may be too simplistic. I kind of pair them, right? So kind of put DK with Lockett because he's more of a slot guy. Kind of put Io Manor with Jefferson. I know people are down on Jefferson. I feel like, though, those guys would eventually graduate into those slots. I generally feel like Io Manor is further along than DK, and Lockett is better than Jefferson, and we're more likely to see more Io Manor sooner than we are DK. You on agreeing with that?
I agree fully. I think the big thing with Io Manor, he has to get more consistently tough.
Yeah, physical.
And I think we kind of saw that a little bit Tuesday in Atlanta. You know what I mean? And he said it. He said that was his worst practice at camp. So for him, it's the consistency. That's going to be something. And I think, you know, in talking to him, watching Calvin really is good for everybody, but for especially him, because he talked about how he sees the urgency that really practices with. And he's like, man, if an established vet like him could have that urgency, how could I not? So that's a good thing.
TD, on the T'Vondre Sweat front, you know, obviously, you know, hopefully he's back out on the field soon, but he has missed a lot of time here. So how concerning is that to you? How much do you think that may linger into the regular season, just the time that he's missed to this point?
Yeah, well, maybe it's because we're inching closer to week 1, but none of us are really talking about T'Vondre Sweat conditioning.
Yeah.
And then that being in Denver, because even the guys who are in good shape are going to struggle there, right? And so now we have a guy who is trying to catch up to shape. So that's going to be an issue for him and for the team. And we know that this team is so focused on collapsing the pocket right from the interior, because that's where their strength is. It's called spade to spade. They're not strong on the edge, so they got to collapse it from the interior, and sweat is a big part of doing that. So that is something I would be very concerned about if, my success was tied to the results for the Titans.
On the Snead front, obviously back out on the practice field this week. We'll see, how involved he gets in the team setting moving forward here. But the fact that he's back on the field, let's say he is ready to go by week 1, how big of a deal is that for this secondary if he's anything close to what they hope he can be, which I still have my doubts about?
Yeah, no, it's a big deal. Here's the thing, right? Cornerback is a position. It's probably one of the most independent positions, right? It's one, and especially the style cornerback that Snead plays, it's one where you could just say, okay, that's your cat. Go get your cat and just run with your cat. And that's all you do. So the big thing, and he said it the other day, the big thing is conditioning. He has to get himself into that shape to where, like I said yesterday, you're like a John Deere tractor, man. Like you just keep going and going and you don't break down. And we know that a breakdown is just calling a spade, almost inevitable at some point for Snead, where he is right now. So, there's a give and a take with that. You got to manage him, and only that way will you be able to get the most out of him. But I don't think the Kansas City Snead is a guy that you're going to see.
We've talked a lot about, if you're a defense looking at this team, what they've done in the preseason, what you've read about out there as you're scouting and learning everything you can. Clearly, the thing to concentrate on taking away is Calvin Ridley. If you're successful at taking away Calvin Ridley, what's next for the Titans?
I think running game. If I was Brian Callahan, when the stuff hits the fan, I'm going shoe to shoe, relying on where all the money is invested. And I'm telling those guys up front, hey, we're gonna go. We are gonna go. And you got a stable of running backs, when Spears comes back. But even without him, you got Chestnut and Khalil Mullins. Mullins, man, he'll run right into your face. You know what I mean? So you got that, and you got Tony Pollard. I would run the ball, long story short. That would be when the stuff tightens up, that's where I would go, run the football.
What's next in the passing game?
That's a good question.
Pregnant pause. The pregnant pause that we all have.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say this. The one thing I do like is Gunnar Helm working those seams.
Yeah.
And he showed that even, with guys on him, he's going to go up and make the play. So that would probably be the next thing, probably feature him a little bit more. I would mix in some more short passes to Chig Okonkwo because, look, there's one thing Chig does well is yards after the catch. We've seen it. And so I would try to find ways to get him the football and let him, catch it and go.
TD, how do you think things are going to shake out for the Titans at inside linebacker here?
Oh man, that's the $1 million question. PK, you've seen the same thing. Cedric Gray is the guy getting the first snaps now. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because it was James Williams for the first 2 weeks. But it's just amazing. Well, Atlanta, Gray was getting first snaps, but it's just amazing how a good outing will do for you. So, I'm going to say James Williams still wins that job, but they're both going to play a lot of snaps. I can't see them, in the 80 snap percentile. I think it'll be kind of like closer to a 60-40, 55, 50, 45, something like that, something along those lines.
You know what I'm factoring in more, especially once Winston is healthy? Dime.
That 3 safety look.
Yeah. I mean, I think Diggs is actually going to be around. They got to find something for him. I think you're finding something for Winston, where Winston is a safety and Hooker is up, and we're going to see a safety in that second linebacker position a lot too. So I think you can make a declaration of a starter, and it may not mean a lot. But the thing about Gray, TD, is, who's popped on defense? Yep. It's hard to find many guys. Barton's done some popping. Jeff will do some popping. But, Cedric Gray in that game with 2 plays popped. Like, how many times have you said, wow, watching this defense this preseason? 2 times for sure that were Cedric Gray.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. I think in game one, James Williams, he popped, but it wasn't as glaring, like running through a running back and helping, get a sack. It wasn't like the INT, But the thing that I like about Gray is he's starting to play fast, right? And the things are slowing down, and he's able to. I think he's a more natural linebacker than James Williams. But James Williams, I love having a guy like that where you could just, put your arm around him and you just say, son, I need you to just go wreck stuff. And he'll do it, So there's a give and a take with both of those guys. That's why, like we said in the press room the other day, you can combine the two, man. You got something special. But to your point about the dime package, here's the thing, right? They have 5 safeties because Mike Brown could tackle too, but we know he'll be more special teams. So they got 4 safeties that are play, and all of them tackle well. And I think that's what's going to allow you to work a little more dime because you're not really losing a whole lot as far as the playing against the run perspective is concerned.
Yeah, so set the edge better with these bigger guys and force things in the middle. Let those guys be a big part of making the tackles. And you've done something. Robby and I have been really down on the defense today, but there's something maybe they can hang their hat on that they really do get back to being a team that can stop the run. Now you stop the run and you force somebody to pass, then you got a whole another problem.
Yeah, that's a whole nother issue. The secondary is so, but they're not helped by an intense pass rush.
Right.
You'd be amazed at how much the front end could do for the back end. So that's 100% right.
All right, TD, last thing for you here. How do you think things are going to shake out at punt returner, and what's kind of the scenario that you'd be looking for there just in terms of the numbers and making everything fit?
Well, I know they want DK to have that job, but Prochet, the aggressive approach, I think Prochet has earned a roster spot. You know what I mean? So I think Prochet initially and eventually he'll cede it over to Chimere DK.
Well, we're looking forward to watching it all tonight, TD. Appreciate so much you taking time to be with us this morning, and we'll see you soon, my friend.
See you later.
Yeah, for sure. See you later.
Absolutely. Terron Davenport every Friday morning at 8 o'clock here on the program, presented by Bart Durham Injury Law. We'll react to what TD had to say, take your thoughts on the Titans and the Vikings coming up tonight in the preseason finale. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. I got some tickets to give away to Holiday World and Splash and Safari in Santa Claus, Indiana. To caller number 7, 615-737-1025. Caller 7 will win a pair of tickets to Holiday World and Splash and Safari in Santa Claus, Indiana. Decent chance you could find PK wandering around in the water park up
We
there.
just discussed my perimeter. And you said it's really not that far. How far is it?
I think it's like 2.5 hours,
Yeah,
somewhere in that neighborhood.
That's outside of the distance I'd go. Look, I like those places if they're not crowded. When are they not crowded?
I mean, that one's been pretty crowded most every time I've been.
Yeah, maybe when school gets back, if there's a couple of weeks there, maybe
right
During a
now.
weekday?
Maybe the
Yeah.
sweet spot to go.
Tuesday when school's out.
Yeah.
I'd take my kid out of school and go, but he can't miss school. He'd be like, I can't fall behind. I can't do it. Sounds great, but I can't.
2 hours, 30 minutes on the dot from Nashville to Santa Claus, Indiana.
Yeah,
Could see
maybe-
PK there.
Maybe doable.
Could see Jay Cutler wandering
listen-
around the field up there in Santa Claus, Indiana.
Could listen to a podcast. See, but then double it.
It's true.
Then you got to
Got
double
to come
it.
back.
Yeah.
Got to come back at that point. Interesting discussion with TD there of what he's looking for in the inside linebacker competition. He says, James Williams could end up winning it at the end of the day. Gray is getting the ones reps right now. But to your point, like, how much are they going to use that third safety in the defensive packages out there? And, you've talked about Diggs. Do you think he's going to have, I guess the way I'd phrase it is, a significant role on this defense? What do you make of how they're going to use him?
I don't know about how significant or how soon, but, initially I thought, well, he comes in, he gets some film, spends some time with Cam, which would be cool. And then he's cut and, has put himself on display a little bit for the rest of the league. And this is not that. I think Denard Wilson sees a way to use him, which means that there's going to be a lot of packages. Now, I don't know that they're, I say this all the time. They're not going to roll through everything every week.
Yeah.
So, there may be weeks where Diggs doesn't get anything, or maybe he's even inactive because he's not going to help you on special teams. But there may be weeks where you see a lot of them based on matchups. So I think it gives them some pretty good flexibility. And look, they're not that talented.
Yep.
So when you're not that talented, if you could draw up matchups and get some of your better people. I mean, Condre Diggs is a good player. He's getting older. He's getting slower. But, I think maybe what they were thinking, maybe they could have done with Jamal Adams last year. Now they can do with Stephon Diggs.
So on the
who's much better.
Quandre Diggs, yes.
Condre.
Not Stephon. You don't want him playing
How
safety.
did I make that slip?
You don't want him playing safety.
No.
He's got enough concerns to worry about out there too. Stay off the boat. So on the defensive front, we've talked a lot today about concerns on the defensive side of the ball. You bring up the run defense and how equipped they are to stop that. I've talked about it here on the show. Charles Davis on the preseason broadcast has brought up in both games so far how basically Denard Wilson told him that nobody's running the ball in the Titans. And that just bothers me to no end. I wish people would stop talking about that. I wish you just go out there. Just go show me. I don't need anybody saying stuff like that. Just go show me that you can stop the run. Having said that, when you look at the way that their defense is structured right now, how equipped, how effective do you think they will actually be at putting that into practice and stopping the run?
Well, look, a side effect of not getting the level of edge rushers that they need, and let's be frank, some of the best edge rushers are not necessarily great run defenders. I mean, the best guys are all around players, but then the next tier of guys probably are more skilled at getting to the passer than they are at setting the edge. It's hard to find an all-around guy. They didn't get the top guys. Arden Key is not an edge setter, but Femi Oladejo at the beginning should be good at that. He needs to grow as a pass rusher. Draymond Jones is definitely good at that, and he's got more of a body to do that. So they should be better on the edge doing that. Whoever the fourth guy is, and hopefully it's somebody other than Allie Gay or Harrell. Could be a waiver pickup there. That guy needs to be good at it as well. And then you're counting on Simmons and Sweat. Sweat maybe not as much early. And the backup defensive lineman, Sebastian Joseph Day, who's a pretty good run defender. They should be better at it than they were last year when it was a major disappointment. But where they still talked about it as if they were good, and where Jeff said, yeah, outside of those 3 big runs, we stopped the run well, which just doesn't compute. And I think people
outside that 75-yarder they broke,
got
did a good job.
Entirely sick of hearing. So they need to not talk about that they're good at it, say they intend to be good at it, go be good at it. This would be the ideal scenario. You're good at it against Denver, and you say, that's what we plan to look like against the run.
Yep.
That's a standard that we set against the run. We did it. We're going to do it better next week. That's who we want to be. And there's the beginning of our identity. I think they have corners who can tackle. Certainly Brownlee's good against the run. I think Baker can be. Don't know yet about Marcus Harris. Leaving Snead out there. Don't necessarily want to see Snead being particularly physical and putting himself in situations where he can get hurt. Safeties, Hooker and Woods, I have no concern about in that. Cody Barton, no concern with regard to that. Gray and Williams have to prove that they have the nose to be in the right place, right? But if we're talking run defense with this defense, feel way better about that than with anything else.
Well, and again, like last year at times we saw all of it be a problem, whether that's run defense, stopping the pass, anything. Like it's still, unless L'Jarius Sneed is just really, really good, it's hard for me to imagine this being a very good defense against the pass. So even if you're stopping the run, you may run into some issues against the pass. But like stop the run, it would be great to eliminate one part of that from your concern if you're talking about this defense.
Yeah, the traditional thinking is stop the run to force the pass so we could rush the passer in bad down and distance.
Yeah.
Well, this team stopped the run to force the pass out of bad down and distances. That challenges the offense. But in 2nd and 8, it's not as disadvantageous to the offense against a defense that's not going to rush the passer well.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. A couple other things on the offensive side of the ball in advance of the game tonight that I want to get PK's thoughts on. We will do that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Titans preseason finale tonight, taking on the Minnesota Vikings, and then got roster cutdown day next week. It's go time. Regular season right around the corner. Taking your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025. PK, obviously the same offensive staff is back from last year, and they've added Mike McCoy to the mix here. What's your sense for him as an offensive assistant, the impact he could have on the offense this year? And then in general, year two of Brian Callahan as a play caller. We talked earlier about the offensive line, the limitations last year on how that probably affected your playbook, what you could call, what you were comfortable with. Now you got a rookie quarterback, so it's a different set of challenges. So what do you make of kind of the staff offensively, how different or not different things could look this year from that standpoint, and what Brian Callahan's got to prove in year two? Forget the head coach part of it, strictly as a play calling.
Well, he's got a better quarterback. We don't know how good Cam Ward's going to be, but I think it's fair to say he's better than Will Levis. So he's got better things to work with. The receiving core is not good, but it's better than what they had last year. The offensive line is, we don't know how good it is, but on its face, it's better than what they had last year. Okay, so a lot of these improvements, the fact that they're better at these spots, are an indictment of how bad they were last year, but they are better. So Callahan has more of a chance to do more with better people. Are they better on the offensive side of the ball than the defensive side of the ball? I think our conversation this morning tells you all you need to know about that. So there should be progress there. I think Brian Callahan is a smart guy. I think he learned a lot in terms of last year. Last year he came in and was really about scheme, right? I need to get this scheme in. I need to teach guys this scheme. We need to understand what we're doing with this scheme. We need to be able to execute this scheme. And he kind of lost the idea that in football, there need to be a constant re-education, reminder, emphasis on a lot of fundamental stuff. Being clean with penalties, ball security, basics. Colt Anderson said at one point last year, you know exactly where I'm going.
I sure do.
I can't remember. Remind me who he was talking about and what the situation was, but he said, I thought he knew.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember who that specifically was about.
All right.
I will find that out.
That is kind of a telling quote that I think probably was reflective in other areas. And that was a rookie coach and a rookie special teams coordinator and a rookie offensive coordinator and a rookie defensive coordinator that probably collectively, starting with the head coach, assumed a little too much about what a football team understood and could do.
And that was the quote from Anderson, by the way. And he was talking in general, just said, early in the year, you can probably say I was assuming guys knew what they were doing.
I was assuming guys knew what they were doing. All right. That's a big flub. All right. But I also think, like, Callahan coming into this offseason, admit it. But, maybe he didn't come right out and admit it. But like Vrabel told me this. Like, I had a conversation with him at the combine when we were having a beer. And I said, like, you guys never said you blew it on stuff like Isaiah Wilson. Why wouldn't you just say, we messed up?
Yeah.
And he said, we cut him. He was the 26th pick and we cut him. That says it.
Well,
right? So Callahan, by doing this, by installing this whole offseason thing, whether you like the 8-team thing or whatever, or find that hokey, the theme of the whole thing was to emphasize how the penalties killed them, was to emphasize how the turnovers killed them. And emphasizing that was to show if we don't do those things, how much better we can be. And, look, if we cut this number to this number, look statistically what that did in the league. Look at the Rams. The Rams are, I think he used the Rams as an example.
Yeah.
Rams are a talented team, but they're not the most talented team. But they play clean football. And look what clean football does for the Rams.
Yeah, but
let's be the Rams. Let's play like the Rams play in terms of not killing ourselves, right? And we're going to go back to fundamental stuff that I don't think he emphasized that I didn't talk about this stuff last year. But this year, we're starting with this baseline about these themes. Now, there's a mea culpa built in there, right? He's not CYAing. He's being straightforward and self-reflective. And I said after last year that one of the biggest things was going to be Brian Callahan self-assessing and self-correcting. And I think he's done a lot of that. Now, does it pay off? Does it fix their problems? I mean, I went to Nissan Stadium for the one practice they had there, and the defensive line, they finish stretching and they do a little bit of special teams. And then the team, as it does, the people who know how practice works, breaks into positions and it goes over to do positional drills. So this is the first positional drill in a bigger setting than they've been in so far in camp. And I'm over with the defensive lineman. And I think it's, it's an assistant coach, has the green ball on a stick. So you're moving with the ball on a stick. And Jeff Simmons jumps off sides before the green ball moves on a stick. And I think to myself, well, somewhat symbolic that the first snap of the first moment in the first stadium practice after an entire season on working on self-inflicted wounds, boom.
Yep.
Same bleep. Only a small moment, though.
Yeah. But
if they false start on the first play in
exactly.
Denver, it's symbolic.
Well, that's what, and that's
if they drive on the first series, clean, no penalties, no negative plays, symbolic.
But but to your point, isn't that a lot of what we're looking for from Brian Callahan this year? Because we're going to get caught up too much in the record. And I'm not saying the record doesn't matter, because ultimately that's the only thing that matters in professional sports. But there's an understanding heading into this season that they're a bad football team. Their record's not going to be good, barring some sort of miracle from Cam Ward. So we know that heading into it. So for me, I'm not saying the record's unimportant, but I'm also looking for exactly what you just talked about. Of last year, they were a combination of a bad football team with a bad roster who killed themselves over and over and over again. Can you stop that this year? Can you stop beating yourself? You're not a talented enough roster. Your roster's in a spot where you're going to get beat, but don't beat yourself. Don't help help the other team more often. That, I think it's a big part of how we're evaluating Callahan this year, beyond the biggest part, which is Cam Ward.
I agree, but this is not going to be fun for people. We talked about this. How much fun is it going to be to see from week 2 to week 3 that Femi Oladejo hand placement,
not a lot,
on pass rushing is better? Well, how much fun is it going to be to look up, and this is the kind of story I'll write a month in. What are their penalties per game look like? What do their negative plays per game look like? What is their average third to go distance on offense and defense? That's not exciting football stuff. But if those numbers are all better, that is exactly what Brian Callahan should be gauged on. And so when people, I should change my answer a little bit. This is good conversation. When people ask me what Brian Callahan should be judged on, I've said number 1, Cam Ward progress.
Yep.
Number 2, I think we just hit on it. Are these things better? These are benchmark things. They were terrible at this stuff last year with a bad team.
Well,
this team is more talented in some regards. Are they better at these things, which were terrible things last year? If they are, they're in better position in some of these games. Are they going to win them or not? We don't know.
Well,
They're not going to win a lot of them. But if they're better at these things, his points of emphasis are getting through, and they're cleaning up some stuff that they were horse bleep at.
Yep.
That's not insignificant.
Well, and on the flip side, if they're not better at those things,
That's
that
a
gets
problem.
back into the conversation of why I think this is more. It's a more nuanced conversation with Brian Callahan than just, well, you got to keep it continuity. You got to keep it for continuity. Like if you get through another season and there's still a team that just beats themselves left and right, and they can't stop taking penalties, and they don't make any adjustments from the first half to the second half, and they can't score more than 5 points in the second half. Like you're gonna look at Callahan and that, and you're gonna be like, it's not any better, man. Like that's a big part of his evaluation.
I'd say you could teach a bad football player not to jump off sides or false start to a degree, but then, a bad football player is doing that because he's scared, right?
Yep.
I have to false start because this guy's going to be down my throat. Well, Dan Moore and JC Latham are good enough that they should be able to hold their spot and not be early.
Yeah.
All right. So if those guys are false starting, you've got an issue. Now, there are going to be some. Hell, the best team in the league, Philadelphia's got penalty
Not gonna
numbers.
be perfect. Yeah.
Right. But there's an acceptable penalty number and there's an unacceptable penalty number, and they need to be far closer to the acceptable penalty number. There's also, I don't know what their philosophy on this is, but I know that Jim Washburn, who had an excellent defensive line, had an acceptable number of offside.
Yeah.
His guys were twitchy, and he was okay because they were predicting the snap, and they got a lot out of that. So they took a penalty once in a while in exchange for timing it up. And really, that sack at that key moment maybe came as a result of Curse being twitchy twice earlier.
Right. 615-737-1025, our phone number. A lot of your thoughts to get to wrap up the show. We will do that next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Paul Kuharsky, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning. Titans in their preseason finale tonight, taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Let's head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Adam in Portland to the program. Adam, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, Robbie, man. PK, are you concerned about the kickers? Because apparently Jim Fossil's kid is supposed to be good, and our punter is already shanking kicks in both games. I know it's probably been hit on a little bit this week, but I haven't heard anything from you about it. Also, the kicker, as soon as we get momentum, this is what I think our whole season is going to look like. We make a play on defense, run it back, immediately the kicker misses the extra point, and I'm going, okay, it feels like we didn't even score. So that's kind of what I feel like you got to button up your kick game pretty quick to start making your team relevant, and I worry about these kickers.
It was one extra point. I mean, I think Joey Sly's been pretty good. My question is, how's Joey Sly do when it's a pressure situation? And you can't simulate that until he's in a pressure situation. If he's bad in a pressure situation, then, they've judged him incorrectly. It's their job to kind of have a feel for how he's going to do in that. Remains to be seen. Hacker's not been particularly good. Fossil said, he doesn't have any doubt about him. He's got the advantage of his first game being in altitude, which is friendly. Both of them do. So we'll see. Are they rock solid at the positions? No. Are there better alternatives there? You have to have guys, maybe they have guys in for tryouts before. Those guys are the guys on opening day. Now, the question is, do they establish themselves, and are you comfortable there? And do you have your guys for the year, or do things go awry and then you end up in one of those things where you got to shop for an alternative and you hope you hit on that alternative, or you end up in this situation where you have a 3 or 4 punter or kicker season? I'd say have some faith in Fossil to start with. It's a much better situation than it's been under Ackerman or Anderson. But, it's not a given.
So what's still left unbuttoned in your mind heading into tonight? We've talked about inside linebacker. We've talked about punt returner. Anything beyond that really catches your eye that you'll be looking out for tonight? I mean, we when you look at straight up position battles, there's not a lot out there, right? Like we got a pretty good idea of who the receivers are on this team, with the caveat of what are they doing at punt returner and how that factors in. We know that inside linebacker is a competition, and much past that, like most of the spots I think are spoken for right now, especially in terms of starters. So
I would watch that second gunner spot.
Okay.
Who's playing opposite Bryce Oliver? I think there's something to be learned there. I would watch Oli Udoh, 72, as a backup tackle.
Swing tackle.
I think he'd probably be left. Yeah, maybe swing. I would watch him as compared to John Ojukwu. I think those two guys might be competing for one spot. I would see if Blake Hance plays some tackle in addition to some guard. That would be telling in terms of sorting out some of the backup stuff there. I would see if Jalen Duncan maybe doesn't play at all. Look for who doesn't play at all. Cuts are Tuesday.
Yep.
There are some guys that they're not going to want to get hurt before they cut them on Tuesday.
Can we tell anything about running back, you think, in this game? Depth behind there?
I think running back is set. Pollard, Spears, Chestnut, Mullings. I think who was the next guy that was good? Mims. I think Mims is practice squatter. I think they're looking for a Chestnut replacement who could make a bid for carries, not just ahead of Mullings, but contend to challenge for carries
even
higher.
with Spears,
even with Pollard.
Yeah. Okay.
How about that one?
I like
How
it.
about that one?
Yeah. What, Spears gonna, do you think he'll be okay for week 1?
No, I don't think he'll be okay for week 1. There's a good question. I think it's probably at least 2 weeks. If you think it's going into 3 weeks, then maybe you consider putting him on a list and sacrificing a week to give yourself some flexibility.
To use an IR spot so quick, huh?
Well, but the other part of that
What's
too
the
is
recall rule? I'm not unfamiliar now.
There's only a few, I believe.
How many?
8, I want to say. I'll have to double check.
8
We're running
recalls?
out of time, unfortunately, for the show. But yeah, a couple. I want to say it's 8 or 9 recalls a year.
thing is though that even if he's out there, like how long is it going to linger? Because we see it with that injury specific when you're a high ankle sprain.
Yeah, I'd certainly err
that thing
with
lingers,
him
man.
on the end of
Looks like 8 to return from IR.
There you go.
8.
So that would be 1 right off the hop.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd think about it.
Yeah,
I mean, depending on what his timetable is.
Yeah, I mean it's
pretty.
It's very unfortunate that he got hurt.
I'd say this: they're pretty healthy overall.
They are.
It's you're going to have to deactivate, from 53 to 48. It's not a big deal to deactivate Tajay Spears, so I'd take it back.
Well, we'll find out. Tonight's the last preseason game, roster cut down day next Tuesday, and then the regular season is here. PK, great stuff today, brother. Thanks for being with me.
Yeah, this was a really good show. So if you missed it, go listen to it. I'm really glad to be here. And don't block the box. Be sure to lock your locks.
Corey Curtis with Jake Lyman coming up next on Next Man Up. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.